Hello, everyone. This is Evelyn of Evelyn's Creations, and I just want to tell everyone thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing, and helping me on my YouTube channel. It's been great. Only 75 days, and I've already became a YouTube partner. I have over 1,400 subscribers, and doing it just a little bit at a time every day. And I'm just a few people away from a few hours away from getting my 4,000 watch hours. So I did a mixture. Some people only do one mixture, long form. I did short and long form because I thought some of my shorts was really nice. And I know it's like a quick rush for some people to get a whole lot of money. Not saying we don't need money, because everybody needs some money. I don't know anyone who said money was came at a bad time. So it always can help grow your business, grow your personal life, your professional life, getting supplies and so forth. But I'm here to encourage you to just stay at it. If you don't have a YouTube channel, I want you to start a YouTube channel. Um, my When I first started the YouTube channel, it was 7 years ago, and I was just trying to get information out, and the store got so busy that I could not maintain it. It took lots of lapse of time, and when COVID got here, I was trying to get it back on, but then I was afraid because I was having to deal with some clients in my smaller store, and I just didn't feel comfortable. I was afraid to even work with them because I was like, I don't want to get sick. I'm a main source in my family, and I just had to put it down again. But times have changed now, and I've been doing a lot of research and really studying about designers. If you don't know me, my name is Evelyn. I like to go by Evelyn because I feel if you go by Evelyn, people can remember you, like Dillard's and J.C. Penney's and different things like that. I just feel like a one name is a good name for a designer. So my name is Evelyn. I've been in business for over 37 years. I'm an international fashion designer, which means I've been all over the world. And like my dad said, 10 times. So I've been all over the world, and I did a lot of designing for a lot of people, a lot of stars, movies, and so forth. And I just decided I was going to slow down and just build stores and make it instead of sewing for celebrities, let me sew for local people and just give them the experience of getting something custom made. Because as a Black designer, we always saw someone sewing, and now we are actually is this actually becoming extinct, and it's important that designers are out there. But first, before I get into what I really do, I just want to get back to the point of, if you want to leave a mark on life, I think the best place to be right now is on YouTube. Because YouTube is like when someone want to watch their favorite actor or their favorite show, they can go on YouTube and they can find that person. I've been a big YouTube fan. I've always wanted to find something new and interesting. When I travel, I go on YouTube and I research everything I can find and go to those landmarks and make sure I can patronize people of my own descent. So usually they're harder to find, so I like to make sure I can go back and support them. So I'm a YouTube junkie. I can say I like YouTube all the time, not just putting it out for myself. And I decided, okay, you know what? Let's do this. Because as I was doing research, I just saw all the designers, not their names weren't in their tags, their names weren't in their clothes. So if you are a designer, the first thing you should do is invest in getting you some labels. I'm sure there's someone in your local community, but now you can get them done anywhere because everybody is shopping online. Find you a nice label. I would say a satin type label with your name. Put your name, your phone number, and your email or your website on your label. That way you can make sure that you're left in the universe. Some people don't like my labels in their clothes because they want to say they don't want people to know where they got it from first, but it is important that you put your label. For example, I was on a flight one year going to Kentucky, and I saw this jacket that I had made, and I was in going about like maybe the fifth or eighth row, and someone had on a jacket I made, and I said, "Wow, that's beautiful. I actually made that jacket." And she was like, "Well, who are you?" And I said, "My name is Evelyn. I'm an international designer, and I made that jacket." And so what I did was I pulled out my card And I asked her to look in her label, and she says, "Oh my God, this is you." So, it was just great to see that I had made something and I didn't know who I made it for. I used to sell a lot of wholesale in New York area, in Chicago, and over even in Dallas at the different apparel marks, and people would buy my wares and they would sell them to their clientele, and it was just good that I had my label there, in her jacket, and I was able to tell her who I was and thank her for loving the jacket, to even want to travel with the jacket on. So that was a great moment for me that I'll never forget. If you look behind me, I'm actually getting ready to start, probably put these online this week. These are some mudcloth wraps and shawls. It's still cold, very, very cold today. And I was coming to work today, and I'm always looking for something to inspire me. So today I was coming to work, and I don't live that far away from here. I'm maybe like 10, 15 minutes from work, and I was driving, and it's really cold. It's Florida, so it's really, really cold. And it's cold because it's cold everywhere. It's not cold because it's Florida. It's just cold everywhere. It's like 30 degrees today. It's an icy cold. It's raining and it's wind blowing and it's ice. It's a really ugly day. So I'm coming to work. I stopped by Lowe's to get some light bulbs that go in my dressing rooms. That's where I am now. I'm in the back of the store where my dressing rooms are. And I see this man crossing this, I would say middle to elderly white male in a wheelchair, crossing 6 lanes of traffic with no legs. It's cold. I mean, cold. And this man was just in his mobile wheelchair. I'm leaving Lowe's, and he's going on the sidewalk, going past Lowe's. There's a bus stop right in front of Lowe's, and I'm sure he was going to the bus stop because I don't think he could be getting something out of Lowe's. But I looked at that, and it just did something to my heart, which means all you got to do is pick up the phone or laptop and start creating content. This man was in his wheelchair in freezing weather, riding across, and he wasn't making an excuse of where he had to go and where he had to be. And every day in my life, I look for something or someone to just motivate me just to work a little bit harder, just to strive a little bit harder. So I want to give that energy to you to just strive a little bit harder, because in your sewing journey, I'm going to talk about sewing now. Sewing is two types of sewing. It's sewing, SEWING, and sewing, SOWING. So you can be a sewer, physically sewer, or you could be a sower, which means you sow into something to get something back, to motivate, to get you something back, because you reap what you sow. That's no matter what. If it's a physical item where you're sowing yourself, or if it's something that you're doing that could be a benefit to others. Every time you sow, whether it's sewing, SEW or SOW, you're doing it for someone, because it takes all of us to make the world go around. And where you give it, you may not get it back, but you're gonna get it. And it's like a savings account. So when you start your YouTube channel, don't worry about your views. Don't worry about, just be consistent. I know everybody say be consistent, but be consistent. Just like brushing your teeth, be consistent. I mean, even if you're learning on YouTube, learn something new every day. And that way you can help someone every day. Firm example. I have a Mercedes. I always like Mercedes. I don't drive it every day. It was something I wanted. And a long time ago, when I was designing all over the world, one of my co-partners, I mean, when I say partners, I mean she was right next to me selling her things. Try to get my hair right. So don't it's a long day. I've been working hard all day. But anyway, she told me she had this beautiful Mercedes in Atlanta. I was working in Atlanta, Georgia. I said, "Oh man, that's nice." She drove up and she had her car, and she was selling jewelry, and she pulled all her stuff out. So jewelry is a small item. She pulled out. She had a nice big Mercedes. She pulled out, and I said, "Oh man, I love that. Oh man." And she said, "You can have one too." And I was like, "What do you mean? I could never afford that car." She said, "Oh yes, you can." And she said, I'm gonna tell you how to do it. She said, you take a show and you put it in a safe, or you put it in a savings account. So we would do shows every week, sometimes twice a week. We would go out and do trade shows. We would go sell our wares, conventions, churches, festivals, whatever. And she said, one show a week, if you do it weekly, or one show a month, you put that amount and you put it to the side for your car. And she said, to when you get to where you know how much you need, you save up that money and then you go buy that car cash. And I'm like, wow, how could I do that? I couldn't believe it. But I did it. So what I'm saying to you is that it's baby steps. So sometimes on the road you may make a few hundred, sometimes you may make a few thousand. So you could do the same thing. It may take a little bit longer or whatever. And then I've always bought say lease cars, cars that was leased, that I was taken care of with very low mileage. So I bought this Mercedes. So I'm going back to say this. When you get a car, you have problems, right? The Mercedes never had a physical problem, like meaning like driving or engine or anything, but there's a little clip in the window that is plastic, and sometimes it breaks, it falls down. It just That's one part in the Mercedes that it breaks. Well, that broke, and I needed my glass put back in. The dealer wanted $3,000. Well, on YouTube, they showed you how to do it for free. So it was just a matter of taking a couple of screws out, ordering that part, putting it back in the door, and there you go. So I'm saying that to say everybody has a gift. And if someone shared that with me or any other universe, they saved a lot of money. That was $3,000. I think the window was maybe two or 300, and the part was maybe $50, whatever, the little plastic piece. But it was relatively a lot less than the price of going to the dealer. And it was not like you had to have special tools. It was really, really easy. So if you have a gift or a talent, I want you to actually help share it with the world so we can make it a better place. And those who have the extra money can go to the dealer. And those who like to do it and save some money and learn a new skill set, then you can do it yourself. So here, I'm going to show you a lot on this channel about how to do it yourself. But before I start showing you something, I want to go back to my main title, Get Off the Beach, start your YouTube channel, hit press and play. I'm doing the first one live today on my laptop because my phone keeps getting busy and I can't record it long enough. So I'm telling you that when you get started, you start talking, you be like, oh my goodness, I got that much to say. Yeah, you got that much to say. Now, I'm going to motivate you to sow. Everything you see around you is being sown, every single thing. But if you don't sow, build something, do something. I'm going to show this right here with you. This is something. This is a little African doll that I have here. And this is some kente cloth print. There's kente cloth and kente cloth print. When you know kente cloth is woven and print is a fabric like this right here. So even if you don't know how to sew, there are always something that you can pick up and make. This is a doll. It's a Ashanti doll from Ghana. And this was absolutely no sewing. Put a couple of rhinestones for the bead for the headdress. And then I made a nice tie, a dress, and a shawl. So, excuse me, if you want to start a business, you can start something like this. Excuse me, I'm gonna take something to drink real quick. You can start something like this that you can start a business with. I mean, it's literally, you can find dolls in the dollar store. I'm just trying to get you down to the basics. When I'm saying go back to the person I showed you today that was walking with, I mean, he was crossing 6 lanes, 5, 6 lanes of highway in a wheelchair with no legs. And he didn't give up. He was striving to do something. He was striving to get where he wants. So if you're striving to get somewhere in your life or you want to make your life better, become a creator. Not only a creator with motivation, people trying to get us to the next level, but also something like this that can be an inspiration in someone's house. Now, you may be say, I don't have no fabric, Evelyn, and I really I need some extra income. I'm gonna show you this right here. This right here, this is a I'm gonna show it real close. This is a pack of needles. Okay. These needles right here, they were only $1 at the dollar store. There's always somebody who has something that can be slightly sewn with a needle. I will show you next week how I took a needle and thread. This little needle and thread, I'm gonna record in my RV. I took a needle and thread and did my whole entire upholstery. Make sure you can see me. Look like I'm getting darker there. Okay, I did all of that with a needle and thread. And you can take a needle and thread. You can do buttons, minor repairs. You can do this for anyone. You just put something out, let someone know, hey, I'm doing some small needle and thread. I'm doing some small mending. If you need some help, let me know. You sew on a button, you can charge $5. Sew on the button, recase the button. That's $5. It could take you less than 2 minutes to make $5. You can do all types of mending and support, all type of reinforcing to start something, and just with this, and they give you get like 5 needles. There's even a needle in here that hooks that you can hook with. Okay, now once you get that kit, look at this. This is another kit that you can get from the dollar store. Okay, the dollar store is no longer a dollar, but they have some great values if you sewing or if you want to start a very small business and grow to this big store that we have here. This is how I started as a kid. I started as a kid with a needle and thread and a baby doll, sitting on the steps, bored, and didn't know what to do. And I took old clothes, and that's how I got started making clothes with old clothes for a baby doll. And I just kept on it. Never knew it was going to be my life journey. I just kept at it. Okay. So I'm just trying to tell you that if you just little stuff that you already know and you're already doing can help you grow to levels of journeys, places you'll never go. This sewing with my needle has taken me everywhere. I'm talking about Paris, Germany, Milan, all parts of Africa. Just came from Puerto Rico and just studied the African culture. I'm a real African designer, so I don't just sew it. I live it. I study it. I go. I eat. I learn. I work with designers that make the fabric, that makes the stones, like the jewelry, whatever. I make an effort to be authentic, a real authentic African designer. So, in this little sewing kit, look, you got a tape measure, you got a seam ripper, you got threads, you got pins, you got buttons. Look at this. If you go to a elderly person and just say, I want to tighten your buttons up because you know the buttons be wearing out, you got everything in here. You could take this literally. This is something that you can get for $4 or $5 at the dollar store, and it could start your business, and you can make $100 with just one kit. $5 investment and turn into $100 with just doing stuff with your hand, just hand stitching something with your hand. So I'm here to motivate you. Get to sewing. Sewing don't have to be with a sewing machine. In fact, my favorite sewing machine, although I have industrial sewing machines, my favorite sewing machine is a Singer sewing machine, a portable Singer sewing machine. I never travel without. Well, I'm gonna take that back. When I go on vacation, I don't take a sewing machine. So I was on vacation last week, and there was 5 days without sewing. I was going through, like, you know how a person say they're on drugs. I was like, oh my God, I hadn't sewed nothing. I haven't painted anything. I haven't sketched anything. But anyway, sewing can give you a vacation, a lot of vacation. Now, and I'm always like trying to sew on a budget because I try to make sure that even if you have the money, sometimes you can waste the money. So if you be frugal and you try to take baby steps and make sure everything is right, to me, you become a better designer because use all your creativity versus always going to get the perfect item. You can always take the little bit of something and make something great out of it than trying to have a whole lot of it. So this little kit, start your sewing kit. Start at 7 or 8 years old. You can start a kid. You're never too old to sew unless you have problem with your eyes. If you can wear glasses, wear glasses. That's the only thing that really stops a person from sewing is if they can't thread the needle. But you know they have things where you can thread the needle. Also, they have machines that you can press a button and thread the needle. But sewing will take you to so many places that you never been. And I want to encourage you to sew. This is Evelyn of Evelyn's Creations. This is my YouTube channel. I'm just happy that you guys are making it great that we can sew together, SEW and SOW. If you would like and subscribe and share, I would like to be with you nightly at 9 o'clock. We'll be doing lives. You can ask me some questions if you want some sewing tips. If you like to donate to our business, because we treat and help so many people through their sewing journey. In fact, yesterday a young lady came in. She was from New Orleans, and she said, "I wanted to see if you was in." And I'm like, "Okay." And she said, "You don't know, you might not remember me, but you helped me and you raised money for me in 2010." And I said, "I did." And she said, "Yes." She said, "You did a breast cancer awareness, and I was chosen by someone that needed help. And you helped pay my bills. I didn't help pay her bills. I had an event. An event was to support women that was having breast cancer issues, women of color who didn't have the funds and the resources. So she was the one that was selected that no one was able to help her. And we did I always do a fashion show and a banquet, and all the funds from that went to support her. And I saw that one time. I hadn't seen her never seen her again. So she said, "I come to your store, but I can never catch you. Yearly, I come to your store, and I want to thank you because you helped my life. And I'm in remission still. It's been 15 years. So I'm just saying, wow, that is something else. But this is what sewing will do for people. If you sew and you have a passion and you make a little bit extra and you can help someone else out, you can do it. Last thing I'm gonna tell you about sewing. See my nails? I was a nail junkie. I was a real nail junkie. And I mean, that was the only sacrifice I would do is get my nails done. When the pandemic came, the only people that were making money were the nail techs. Everybody else, we had to hunker down. So I have these stores in the mall, and I never gave up my small store where I first started from. And I went back and I sold in my store, and I had VIP clients that needed things done. In the pandemic, I was so afraid. I was just so afraid. And I mean, I had to go from making gowns to making face masks to people who still had flights who wasn't afraid of the pandemic, but I was so afraid. And I just said, "Oh my goodness." So I stopped getting my nails done because it was no need, because I wasn't out anywhere. I didn't have to show my hands anywhere. When I'm usually selling, I like to show my hands. And I took that money during the pandemic and I bought property with the money that I sold sewing. And I took that money and I bought property. You said, "Well, how much did she charge?" She actually charged me about $75 to $85, maybe $100 if I got everything: face, eyelash, eyelashes, eyelining, feet, hands, the whole works. Every 2 weeks. That was my splurge. But when I saw they were making money and so many people were out of money, especially small black businesses, let's be real. And I started buying property from a land bank. And land bank meaning there's some distress areas where they just can't, it's high crime and it's just a bad area. Well, I took that money and I bought property. So what I'm trying to say is that you never know. Some things you have to do, you may have to make some sacrifices. And I sacrificed my nails. And now guess what? My hands still work without the nails. I can still sew fast. I used to use the nails to kind of guide the fabric. I can still sew fast without the nails. I can still, if you were doing a show and you had broke a nail, you feel like the world had ended because you got to do this show. But you know what? You can still make money. They'll still pay you if you got a broke nail. And I had to get out of that. And once I got out of that, I started seeing my life change. That what's really important. Getting your Not saying that you shouldn't get your nails done. I'm just saying if you want to grow your business where you want to buy, you may need to buy a lot of fabric. It may cost you $1,000 to buy in bulk. That may not be money you want to put on your credit card. If you got a little bit of money where you can save here and there, you can do it. I heard a sermon from my pastor, and this lady had lost her job. I was at church. It was just for me. That was just for me. And she was struggling. She lost her job. Business for her husband was really slow. She had these kids going to college, but she knew how to bake some good peanut butter cookies. That lady, she's in Edenville, Florida. First documented incorporated black town here in Florida. Edenville, Florida. She took that cookie making skill to the next level. She didn't get down. She lost her job. Her husband wasn't working that much, maybe one day a week. She had a kid in college. She had to pay her bills. She started baking like a sailor. You hear me? She started baking them cookies, selling those cookies. And not only was she able to pay all her bills, she was able to continue paying her son's tuition in college. So that sermon was for me. So it was like, no matter what you're doing, see what your skill set is, whether it's in sewing, making clothes, repairing cars, cutting the yard, whatever your skill set is, hang in there, stay in there, and save the money. When you make some money, don't spend it all. Please don't spend it all. Save some money to invest. So if you can make $2, try to turn that $2 into $5. If you can't make turn in $2, try to do it in four. If you can't do it in four, try to make it in three. So either way, whatever you invest in, turn it into more money. If someone comes in right now and they'll say, Miss Evelyn, can you sew a button on for me? A minimum charge is $5. This pack of needles was $1. This was $4, $4 or $5 at the max. I can take the buttons out of here and sew the buttons for $5. Now you say, well, you want to make a profit. Well, $5, that was the beginning. And then everything else is a profit. I made my investment back. I made a profit. So if you're going to make it in life, you always got to invest, but do it in kindness and not greed. Do it where it's a help up, not pushing somebody down because they lost a button or they got a rip in their pants. Okay, just do it in moderation, and when times get better for you and that person, everybody goes up together. It's not just one person. So with that, I'm going to end this YouTube channel. This is Evelyn. I'll be going live Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock, and come in and ask some questions, like, subscribe, and share. And if you like any of my wares, I'll have a different item that I'm working on every night behind me. Then you can go on evelynscreations.com or Evelyn's Creations at Etsy. Thank you. Have a nice evening, and get off the beach and open your YouTube channel. Take care. Bye bye.